Attention gamers. This is the story of how I did over 130,000 damage to champions in a single game of League of Legends that I lost. But to understand how this happened, we have to take a few steps back. Once upon a time there was a small indie company that made a decent game, but its fan base wasn't quite big enough to fund having a large staff of developers or testers to prevent ridiculously imbalanced things from happening in their game. And they just didn't have the resources to police their community so that they wouldn't turn into an egotistical piss pit of arrogant elo-peen protecting asshats. I call this company Unkillable, and unfortunately, I am unhealthily addicted to their game. So today I was following the classic YouTuber's handbook, which was to build an incredibly off-meta and flat-out horrible set of items on a champ where they will have no synergy together and just spam games until I eventually get one where I feed off of some molding moron enough to make it look good and thus trick you, the viewer, into blindly trying it in your next ranked game. This is more simply referred to as content. So my deceptive tactic in this video was supposed to convince you that building all lifesteal items in Season 11 would earn you the nickname Healing Helen Unkillable Queen of the Simps. But little did I know that there was a single healer item in Season 11 that has more potency in its little midnight pisses than in my entire full 6-item build, introducing Moonstone Renewer. Cuffing the nuts of an ally champion heals nearby low health champions, and this effect gets stronger for every second spent in combat. Add one an upgrade to this item and you can't blame Uncle Rito, the small indie company, for not foreseeing this as a result. But Rav, just build grievous wounds, they will say. And yeah, I eventually did, deciding that my content dream was dead, but as you can see, one cannot merely out-itemize that proverb known as 200 years. Oh, and I almost forgot the last step in the YouTuber's handbook. Do a raid ad. Raidy Shady Rav here with Raid Shadow Leggings to say that if you have not already sold your soul to the fun gods and downloaded this game, played it on your ride to school, during class, while getting bullied because you have a big nose, during your own kidnapping as you are dragged into a creepy van after school, and then while getting poop hole probed by aliens in the back of said creepy van, then you are missing out, because Raid is the perfect addition to any situation, and now you can play it on your PC too. So let's get to know the personalities behind some of these characters.
Is the worst starter in the game. Choose El Hain. Let's see how that works out for you. Do we have the clip? Oh, I never get tired of seeing that.
Okay, the buff green beans are a bit toxic and we are League players, so I figured you might be into that, but my favorite faction is the Dark Elves because champs like Hexweaver are rare, but I really appreciate her amazing well-rounded set of skills. I mean, look at all these heals and speed buffs she gives her entire team. And the company is constantly coming out with new stuff, as proven by this email they just sent me. Just look at some of the character designs in the pipeline. You've got violent pole dancers, tie-dyed upright lizards, shark fin cosplaying fat asses, centipede covered Satan spawns, and many more. And clicking my special link below will bless you with one wealthy dead man's inheritance and this grimly looking barbarian who will help you smash your way through the early stages of the game. So thank Raid for sponsoring my content and click my link today. And so now we point and silently pity those who post the timestamp marking the end of my ad in the comments, effectively showing that they are merely a small chode-shaped being forced to an eternal baptism in their own mommy's tit milk, failing to ever graduate to the life of a non-douche canoe functioning adult. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, this video was supposed to be about me being the biggest heal whore on the block, so for runes I basically just selected as many things as I could find that would have me healing and the enemy squealing, and full disclosure, there wasn't much action worth showing in the first 10 minutes of this game because my support was having an intense contest with himself to see who can break the world record for most consecutive missed skill shots. There's a famous quote that states you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and this Pike was feverishly trying to prove that he could miss 100% of the shots that he did take as well. So needless to say, my Jinx junk remained dry, untouched and unsatisfied for the beginning of what later turned into the shit fest of a century. And thankfully their cosmic wheat farmer finally decided to come down to give me something else to watch other than Pike choking on his own slobber, so I kite back slowly until my support joins us too. You guessed it, miss his hook, and then the intelligent decision is made to crawl up and inside of my anus, so I promptly run back to tower for some privacy to shit him out, and then I kill him off as Pike takes one for the team by sitting in the Yuumi ult and doing nothing. So I push out lane as my support runs mid to check if any of his missing chromosomes are up there, as the tandem of tit lickers decide to do a douche duet, to which my dyslexic ass feels it necessary to accuse them of being /. Then I guess Reaper Randy crawled up the wrong man's asshole mid, and now 3 of my coworkers are chasing him through the forest as Pike capitalizes on this opportunity to miss another Q, and I Amazon Prime order an 800-pound smiling rocket to the area. But the gold from the kill basically gets thrown in the trash. A minute later and I have Blonde Boy and his kitten shit sidekick dry humping their tower as Pyke joins us and to everyone's surprise lands his first hook. And I can't sugarcoat my next move where I busted my flash straight into Stunsville under their tower. I was just so goddamn excited as if I just witnessed the first man landing on the moon, but I don't think it would have mattered considering their entire team came down to celebrate when they heard the news about this seemingly impossible event occurring. Even Pyke himself was verbally elated and uncontrollably giddy about it finally happening. My team heard that McDragons is serving white meat tonight, so they are all in line as a skybeam signals the pending arrival of an Obisox to the party. Reaper Randy joins and his presence commands my attention, so a little right-click tap dance ensues until I remember that I told our Gromp I would send a rocket his way, so I take care of that real quick and then I continue my stand still and auto-attacking. Kill number 1 shoots a large dose of cocaine up my poo pocket, allowing us to murder the fat goat, and then I attack Sona instead of the one-shot kitty as if I have the focusing skills of a newborn flamingo with ADHD, resulting in them surviving to live another day of sitting in bathtubs and selling the gamer girl herpes marinated water to lonely perverted middle-aged men. But this is League after all, so naturally I am trying to defend mid tower alone against 4 of them. Actually make that 5 when they summon Steroided Stanley as my jungler comes in to prove why she has had a negligible effect on the game so far, but a tower shot and a thin beam make a baby inside of Belle Delphine's diseased snatch, so I panic and promptly send a plan B rocket her way because this toxic rift is no place to raise a baby. We reveal their team taking dragon, so naturally my jungler decides to just do a drive-by from a distance as if she has social anxiety in lieu of I don't know fucking stealth and a smite, so they get it uncontested and I declare shoulder firing the new hip firing as I deliver a few pip squeakers to various members of their team to scare them off before politely informing the demon goat that he was not dismissed and sending a 900-pound message to the blonde boy that next time his ass will be grass and I will bring my weed whacker. We group up mid so that my team can do some synchronized yet caught outing together, and I honestly don't mind positioning like a piece of cheese in the middle of a rat orgy because I now have enough lifesteal to probably clickbait a hook clip for the video, but unfortunately this build lacks the crit that pairs so nicely with this caffeine slut. So 1 murder is all I accomplish in this one. Now it would be a good time for me to go on a quick shopping spree, but the sex ant wants to greedily kill off their chickens, so I stick around as team babysitter, which was the right move considering she seemingly didn't notice the fat goat launching a baby mountain at her, which long story short ends in her being asked to jump and me wasting my heal on this stupid nonsense. Ornn's ancestor stops by for a sec and then the twinkle shit forgets that he's playing an ADC and tries to save his teammate only to find himself in a bit of a situation. Then Reaper Randy I guess thinks it's acceptable to knock down our statues when he thinks no one is watching, so I run in sending a few flaming sweet peas his way as he flees into the bushes only to randomly get the false confidence that I won't absolutely shit on him in a 1v1. I take a trip up top because that floating bathwater distributor has been announced one too many times as a mass murderer, and I see 3 future victims lined up to make the next headline if I don't make an appearance, and sure enough Tucker Time Tits eats the Sona ult, so I throw a swab of lube onto my right click button and give it a rough banging to send the bitch back to base. And then I admittedly get a little overzealous trying to limit test my lifesteal against 3 of them, but I was also naive to think that my team would do anything more than run up, sit in a Yuumi ult and then collectively make the decision to circle jerk each other off while running away instead of offering any form of useful assistance. But then it happened, right when I thought I had the old ass Obisox and his nipple licking kitty cat caught out, I was met with a surprise. I was no longer merely fighting just 2 people but rather the entire development team at Riot Games. Remember when I started to understand why upgrading an item that scales up the longer you stay in combat quickly makes it impossible to kill anything? Multiple points in the fight I just sat still auto-attacking in a hopeless and depressing thought that this may very well be what the League of Legends meta turns into in Season 11, little magical queefing kittens riding thick-skinned giant-headed cows building full tank and becoming invincible. Luckily at one point the dumb red anorexic death ram comes in and with the help of my fat smiley face death rocket, we get 1 kill out of it, but after a minute into a fight where every second the freaking feline's heals became stronger, seemingly uncapped by the fat cow's upgrade, it actually became impossible to win the fight and their team grouped up swaddled in the heals of immortality, taking out my team one at a time until I eventually met my maker as well. And sure enough, when you add stupid ass broken bullshit into the game, you are just asking for players to play it incorrectly as they all decide that skinny dipping in our fountain would now be a good idea, And in utter disbelief I stand there auto-attacking in shame that I haven't left the game and promptly uninstalled League, but luckily cooldowns do exist and I end up getting a few kills off of their stupidity. This allows us to slay the Elder Dragon and slap its dead bitch balls execution juice all over our bodies, which we desperately needed to win any fight against the hyper healing whore, as I too was now fully stacked on heals, so these fights just seemed hopeless, but we eventually dogpile onto the shitters enough for us to hit those sweet dragon spirit pukes, allowing us to actually win another fight. Then I figure I will need to be rapid fire rocketing in the next fight to do enough AoE, so I better get a fresh blue buff only for bitch tits here to nab it. So I call her a hoe, wondering why she needs blue buff just to run and use one ability and die like she's been doing all game. And you probably guessed how the next team fight went at this point. A bunch of overly dramatic flashy spell animations to make you think Season 11 is going to be dope, only to mask the monstrosity of broken bullshit that will leave many people like me amazed and baffled by the fact that this has even made it to PvE past the original team meeting, where I would think someone would say, hey, maybe the Orin upgrade shouldn't give this item uncapped scaling. But I guess at this point, despite describing why I built the items that I built, I should probably appease the people 6 paragraphs deep into a hate comment flaming me for complaining about healing but not having a grievous wounds item, so I say screw my content build, and at the end tested a fight where I did in fact build the strongest healing reduction in the game, only for me to honestly not even notice if it had an effect on the just abomination of bustedness going on at this point. So to answer the question of how I lost a game where I did almost 140,000 damage to champions, is that the other team's pussy was just too good, racking in almost 250k healing done in the game. But in the end, it is important to note that this did happen on the PvE, and I honestly can't hate on Riot experimenting with new bold things to keep their game fresh for us, so please don't be like probably the 6 haters misinterpreting my sarcasm for legitimate whining, as I honestly was thankful for bullshit like this happening, because after all, it was content. Don't forget I had a raid sponsorship today, so clicking the link will help support the channel, and huge thanks to those supporting me already on Patreon. Pet your dog, jerk your ween, build healing reduction against Yuumis, and brush your teeth tonight. Rav out.